Hello, welcome. It's a evening edition of Apex Living, and I have a friend here.
Hey. Hi.
Hi, I'd like to invite you to join us. Say hi if you're popping in. There's our first contestant. I have Lisa Bosquez here. Lisa, hi, Jenny. Welcome.
Hey, Jenny. Hey, I missed seeing you tonight, Jenny. I hope you're doing well and feeling better.
So Lisa is a good friend of mine, a business partner, and wonderful fiance.
Yay.
So yesterday we did something that almost nobody in Florida does. And I was surprised about this. When I looked at this and I was looking at some of the information, Lisa, and it said that 95% of the Florida crop goes immediately to juicing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow. And yet we see oranges all the time from Florida, wherever you go. But it's not really. It's, hey, Bob, welcome. We're talking about yesterday's experience in the orange groves. And we got a chance to go and pick sugar bells.
Mm-hmm.
How would you explain a sugar bell, Lisa?
Ooh, a sugar bell is sweet and juicy. A lot of people confuse them for tangerine. So that's...
And they had all kinds of shapes. I mean, some of them were ready to pull, and they were like that small.
Yeah, they range in size from fairly small to a good size in your palm. And shape-wise, too, sometimes they had like this little bell-type dome on the top of them, which was fun, I thought, to see that.
We even saw one growing upside down. That was pretty cool. Who would have thought that an orange could grow upside down?
Well, and two, one of the things that I liked about going to the actual grove, I know they'll tell you a lot of times in the stores, the oranges have been painted to make them look a certain color because the public wants a certain color. So in the groves, we got to see them in their natural state, of course. And the guide that went out there with us showed us what to look for. So on the tops of them, where they're attached to the tree, he said it's okay if it's green there, but not on the bottom. So if it was green on the bottom, we wanted to avoid those and leave them to grow some more. But then he also talked about the little imperfections, if you will, the little brown marks that we would see streaking across. He said all that is just a little bit of damage that happened from Hurricane Irma. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, these can be considered hurricane souvenirs.
Yes, he said they really lucked out in the hurricane, so that was neat. He said they were blessed.
Yeah. We also found that they actually put eucalyptus trees around the orchards. One, it provided a break for the winds. That's why they weren't so impacted by the winds from the hurricane. But it also keeps the bugs away. And I thought, wow, there's something to put around the house.
It's like putting marigolds around your garden. Keep the critters out.
Yeah. So, well, we learned all that. We also learned that there were different sizes of lemons.
Ooh, the lemons. Okay. So what? You're used to a lemon
Being about,
maybe the size of your mouse.
Well, maybe
a little bit smaller, right? Smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. you have to see Joe's pictures or mine if you haven't seen them, because how big was your?
It's like a football.
Big?
I don't know. It's like a giant grapefruit. It's like a grapefruit.
Seriously, mine was like half the size of my head. I think it was huge. You could make 2 lemon meringue pies out of it. So I hope to do that.
Yeah. So one thing we noticed at the Grove was how we were escorted out. Here, I had these fantastic expectations that I'm going to be pulled by this tractor out on a wagon into the grove, way far away, bouncing over each of the ruts and getting to the point where they just took us out the back, stopped us at the fence, and we thought, we're going to go through the fence. No, this is just to tell you about the warning. Don't fall in holes. Watch where you're looking. Watch where
step on the fire ants.
Look where you're walking. Don't step on the fire ants. Watch out for any possums or anything else that may be lurking in the orchard, in the grove. I keep calling it an orchard, but it's an apple that has an orchard. And But I thought that was not only is it a warning, and they're trying to do that to limit liability, but they're pointing out a key aspect. Keep your eyes focused on where you step, on where you are at. So don't fall over your feet, because if we look too close, we're going to fall over our feet. But no, looking out in advance that you have to walk and be aware of what things are around you, what's below you, what branch might be hitching you in the head, especially as you're trying to search for that perfect orange that you wanted to pick. It's a true call of a leader, is to be able to look ahead and be able to see what obstacle, what trap might be in the way, what dip in the road, and help and carry, bring people with them and make sure that they can get through those and keep on doing what they need to do to work. So I thought it was a great point. It was a great point to also learn. Lisa asked our guide, Dwayne, a lot of questions, because basically the tour is, look at the sign, here's the waiver. We're not to be held liable for the fact that you couldn't step somewhere properly. And this is how to approach the tree and snap off the orange. And okay, are you good? All right. You're on your own. And when you get done, just go back into the store and get your produce weighed. So it's like, okay. So Lisa asked some great questions, and I thought, well, why not? Here's an expert. Here's a guide who knows a lot, but he's almost never asked about, well, what's special about these oranges? Or, we saw a steamer because of the citrus greening. So they have this semi-trailer based canopy that comes over the trees and creates this heat area, and it takes 3 trees at once. And I thought, that's pretty spectacular, for being a person that likes to have technology in play. And, okay, here's this tent that comes around, and boom.
Well,
what was it? What did they say? It was like 30 seconds?
30 seconds, 125 degrees. But what I thought was really cool about that is that when they put the tent over the trees, they were not just heating up the outside of the tree that you could see, but when it gets into it, it actually goes down into the root system. And if it didn't, it wasn't going to fully cure the disease that the trees were fighting.
And it was only a temporary fix, so they have to do this periodically to the groves. And it's another great point, because as a leader, we're putting ourselves around people to help them perform better, to lift up, to grow, to develop. And what we do has an impact. And if we heat it up enough, we get enough energy working on it, right? We show that we care about the people that work with us, that we take time to invest in them. That impact will go down all the way to the roots. But if you just say, well, hi, Jack, great game this past weekend. Did you see it? Oh, yeah. And then you go on, citrus greening is going to come. The growth that will stop. We as leaders have to take time to bring our canopy over, so to speak, and warm up the people around us, to tell them this is important. These are the issues, or this is the vision that we have for the company. These are the values that we have around the company. This is why we do what we do. This is what your role is in bringing what we do to the community we serve, or to the clients we serve. It's a great opportunity to just be surrounding people and developing them and watching them grow and creating the right time to harvest them for their skill, for their potential, for what they have that they yet don't know. How many times, I came into a position, I'm sure you did too, Lisa, you didn't know everything, and you just waited until you could grow into that position. And sometimes you walk in and you think, oh, I'm not going to get hired. I don't know anything. I don't know what they do. So it's a great opportunity to learn about how nature works and develops its harvest, and then produces the fruit, produces the benefits. So, Lisa, what might be one thing that you took away from beyond what we already talked about from the orchard, from the grove?
I think the thing that really stands out to me is that people are so willing to just accept whatever it is that's given to them.
Yes.
We're so willing to, and used to actually. People say, do this, we're like a little robot. Okay, we do that. we don't question those things. But when you ask a question like, what could make today great? Okay, that's a good question for all of us to ask every day. What could make today great? Because today is the day that matters. Now is the moment that matters. What could make this moment great? And once you figure it out, I think that it's even more important to get used to thinking, what else? What else? What more? What more could I do to make this moment great? What more could I do to be adding value? And it's not all about just depleting yourself, but it's developing a skill. We're developing our listening skills. We're developing the skills that show that we care about other people. It's developing a skill of leadership. I mean, there's so much that can happen through the learning process as we ask the questions. And as we look at this and just not accept the information, but realize that as we're listening, this is one perspective. And we can take that and we can shift that perspective around from one place to another. And as we take that perspective and we're shifting it around, we get all new perspectives, like the fruit. As we looked at the fruit, and we could see, oh, there's a ripe one, but no, it wasn't necessarily ripe. We had to take a double check. Or we might look at it and think, oh, that one's not so good. But in all reality, that was just a surfacey thing. Inside, that fruit is amazing. It is juicy and sweet and ready to provide all kinds of nutrients and value.
Absolutely. As you're talking, I was thinking about, it was bringing me an image of the law of the process. And the law of the process is mainly about this. There is a process to everything. Whether it's growing fruit, if you look at the life cycle of a orange tree, right? Or any other plant or animal or whatever, there's a process. There's a cycle from which they are born to which they die. And it varies based on whatever the dynamics, the environment, the soil conditions, the weather, how much water it gets, whatever, how much food is around, So I think as new, we're now veterans, veteran orange pickers, because we're going back in January and we're going to, maybe one time is not, but we picked like 50, 52, something like that.
Yeah,
sugar bells.
It took a very short time.
And then we picked some more in the store by picking up oranges and lemons and said, this is what we need. But we're going to go back and get the honey bells in early January. And they're amazing. They're huge already on the trees. So we want to be able to hit those right away.
Well, they're good size orange.
Well, they're large. I mean, they showed quite readily compared to the sugar bells. Yeah. I thought the honey bells were already showing their presence in the tree. And that's maybe another aspect. To close out today, we talked a little bit about what's happening in the orange grove, how it can snap off that particular produce, and what the people around you, the team members, they have some skills, and as you develop them, then you can really kick them up into producing something of even greater value, because you can take what they have produced, what that reward they did, because they learned the process, they learned how to develop, they learned to step into a higher instance of themselves and really living the organization's values, or living, and in addition to their own individual values. And they've been able to step up. Now you can harvest that and produce, an even greater talent, a greater person with more high performance. We're going to talk about Brendon Burchard's High Performance Habits book. I'll use some quotes from there and some thoughts about what I'm reading as I'm going through the book this week, intermixed with some other stories that Lisa and I, she doesn't know this, but Lisa is engaged for the whole week.
What? Okay.
It's a special. It's a twofer.
I'll be happy.
And we'll show you. We'll show you. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll show you an orange, and we'll show you the lemon, and live in person, and some other things that we may find along the way that we think are great ways to look into life, look into stepping up and being a little bit more than you were yesterday. And, it was said to me, and I heard this, and I thought into it, and I said, yes, make today so much better that yesterday's jealous. Make yesterday jealous. It's awesome thought. How can you make today the best it can be and not really worry into what you're going to do with it, but when you have that opportunity, grow and take it beyond. Hi, Sherry. You're joining us as we're wrapping up today, but stay tuned for the replay. If you're catching us on replay, thank you. And again, my name is Joe Dutkiewicz, and this is Lisa Bosquez, and we're certified John Maxwell team leadership coaches, speakers, and teachers. And more importantly than that, we've learned a lot from life as we've gone through our own career development, our calling, but we've also found that our best work is in helping you, taking you to your apex, to your top of the tree, beautiful orange. Yeah, you're orangey orange, your perfect one to snap off and make yourself the best tasting, well, so to speak. But
that's not awkward at all.
Yeah, no, but the full essence of yourself. And that's what we do with people. We bring the full essence out and take them to another level. And stay tuned this whole week. About this time, we'll be jumping in, and maybe a little earlier. Depends on how long Lisa goes on her video. But
mine are at 8 o'clock Eastern.
So just shortly after she wraps up hers, just stay tuned. And we'll go through some exploration, and some experiences this week, because it's great. We're in Florida. This is our second Christmas here in Florida, and we're having some fun in exploring what's happening in Florida and things around us that we can bring to you. Take care, enjoy the evening, and be well, and have a great, significant day tomorrow. Start the day off with a fresh start, with a fresh perspective, because you can go from little to great, but you have to start with little. Talk soon. Bye.
Take care.